Shedeur Sanders, the 6th quarterback, off of the board. And some people, Stephen A. Smith among them, are in a tizzy, and they are trying to read into this situation very nefarious motives. Let's listen to Stephen A.
Shedeur Sanders is not blameless here. Primetime Deion Sanders is not blameless here. I'm going to say what I have to say, knowing that both of them have their hands at least a little bit dirty in all of this. But if you're the National Football League, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion. Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on them? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on them. How the hell does that happen? And when you're talking about the owners, I'm going to keep in mind, and I tweeted about this, seems very Kaepernick-like, as in Colin Kaepernick.
No, you didn't. Stephen A., did you really? Did you? You work for ESPN. Of course you did. He's going to bring Colin Kaepernick into this. What the fuck are you talking about? See, this is again where I lose all respect for Stephen A. Enjoy the fat checks that you cash, my man, because this, you know better. Do you really believe this? You really think that there's a parallel to be drawn between Shedeur Sanders and Colin Kaepernick? Well, maybe there is, in the sense that the off-the-field bullshit isn't worth the trouble. I will say that there's a comparison point to be made in the broadest sense, that when you're running a team, do you want the circus coming to town if that circus ringmaster is somebody that is not of incredible ability? Because I'll tell you, Deion himself looked like a royal pain in the ass when he was coming out of Florida State back in the late 80s, but the degree of talent and the impact that he could have on a football game made teams decide that there wasn't going to be any problem drafting him. If Shedeur was better, he would have gone higher. But he ain't that much of a slam dunk as a prospect to be worth all of the trouble that he is bringing with him potentially. Certainly the distractions, the attitude, the me first, at least the perception. Look, I wasn't in the interview rooms. I'm not one of the teams that evaluated him, but we saw the quote that was leaked by an unnamed coach in the league who said it was one of the worst interviews, if not the worst interview that he'd ever been a part of. Is that what you want? That's how it happened. You think that the NFL teams, they got together and said, hey, for 4 rounds, we're all going to agree to collude and not draft this kid. But then in the 5th round, somebody can draft him. You really think that that happened? That makes no sense whatsoever, Stephen A. 0 sense whatsoever. And you know it. This is not a race issue. Anybody that wants to say that this is about race needs to understand that this is the same league that the last 3 years, the number 1 pick in the league has been a black quarterback. The previous 2 seasons, the number 2 pick in the league, black quarterback. All right? You're telling me that Shedeur is some sort of an exception. He's the guy, suddenly racism pops up when it's Shedeur Sanders. Explain that to me. Just explain it to me. This is a league, it is cutthroat. Cutthroat. Dave Portnoy correctly called you out on it, Stephen A. It is a cutthroat league where everybody is trying to win desperately. Jerry Jones just wants to get a fucking Super Bowl in before he dies, okay? It's a bunch of rich old men who are trying to win something with their toy before they die. And if they think that Shedeur Sanders could get them to a Super Bowl, believe me, no team in the league would have passed over him. If he was a generational talent on the field, we would have said, well, all right, this may get fucked up, but we're drafting him. There's no doubt in my mind about that. The guy who at one point we thought might be the number 1 pick in the entire draft doesn't even go until day 3, and he finally gets taken by the Cleveland Browns. And the memes have been thick. Anywhere and everywhere, you can get a Shedeur Sanders chuckle if you go online. I tried to contribute to the festivities a little bit myself over at Super 70 Sports, tweeting about Shedeur's travails. Here's one for you. If I would have gotten drafted, we'd have been Super Bowl champions. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. Uncle Shedeur sitting out on the front porch, reflecting on the glory days back when he got his number. Did I ever tell you I got my number retired? Yep, back when I was at Boulder, we went 13-11. Was it 13-11 or 13-12, Ron? Somebody tell me.
Neither one is good.
Almost won a bowl game, but we didn't. Oh, man. No way to treat a man whose number's been retired. This man's already a legend. His number's retired, and he has to wait until the 3rd day of the draft to get drafted. He's legendary. If you don't believe me, just ask him. The Cleveland Browns finally pulling the trigger in the 5th round, and I got mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, at a certain point, you got to realize Shedeur has better than 5th round talent. Who else are you going to get in the 5th round that has higher upside? Counterpoint, here he is just with a tremendous amount of cash at his draft party. What kind of party do we have going on here? You know, look, and there's going to be people that are going to say, oh, well, you know, he's iced out and people don't like that and so on and so forth. Well, there were a lot of guys who were iced out at the draft. There was one guy who was iced out after another coming out to accept their draft position throughout the 1st round. One guy, another guy, another guy. So it doesn't seem like that's really the issue here to me. It seems the issue is quarterback is the most important position in the game. And the person that you invest in to be your quarterback, when you draft somebody, if you're going to draft them, certainly if you're going to draft them high, you're putting a tremendous amount of faith in that person, and you're putting a tremendous amount of not only financial investment, but time investment and the window of opportunity that your franchise may have. You're entrusting it all into that guy. And what happens on the field is one thing. What happens off the field is very, very important. And is that the guy that you want to entrust it with? I think that is what happened very simply. The Cleveland Browns finally broke that ice in the 5th round and drafted him. We were starting to wonder for a while, is he going to get drafted at all? But toot, hop on, motherfucker. We are headed for the mouth of hell. And Deshaun's driving. What a quarterback room they have there now. The current quarterbacks, listen to this. This is a motley crew of quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns have right now. And you got to realize how many quarterbacks they've gone through over the last 2 or 3 decades to begin with. But they've got Shedeur. They've also got Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted in the 3rd round. So Shedeur is the 2nd quarterback that they drafted in this draft. He comes along 2 rounds after Dylan Gabriel. They also have Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, who is never going to touch the field again whatsoever. There's no way he's ever going to play another down for the Cleveland Browns. And Joe Flacco is back. So, man, there is a group of quarterbacks. So the prank. Let's get to the prank. The salt in the wound, the insult to the injury. We saw it. Let's go ahead. Let's go to the tape first, and then let's break down the aftermath of the Shedeur Sanders prank phone call.
Hey, is this Shedeur? Hey, this is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
just ain't gonna do nothing there.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
What does that mean? What? What did he say?
What does that mean? It means you just got pranked, Shedeur. And look, I feel kind of bad for you, but I also think that it's kind of funny. I know that we're supposed to act like this is a terrible tragedy. The Atlanta Falcons are tied to it. It's a tragedy for them, I suppose. Jeff Ulbrich, who is the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, newly hired back in Atlanta, where he used to coach several years ago, after his time with the New York Jets. You may recall Jeff Ulbrich was the interim head coach of the Jets. He went 3-9 last year after they fired Robert Saleh early in the season. He's now in Atlanta, and the reason that he is involved in this story is we come to find out later it was Jax Ulbrich, Jeff's 21-year-old son, who apparently grabbed Shedeur's phone number off of an open iPad that his dad had, his dad being an NFL defensive coordinator. They get the numbers of the players because the teams call the players, right? And so young Jax, apparently, we are to believe, saw his dad's iPad open, grabbed Shedeur's phone number, took it to a friend, and the two of them got together, and that's what we saw happening, pretending to be the New Orleans Saints and telling Shedeur on day 2 of the draft that they were drafting him, but he would have to wait until their next pick. Was it sophomoric? Yes. Was it ill-advised? Yes. Should they have done it? No. Is it a bad look for the Atlanta Falcons and Jeff Ulbrich? Yes. Did I find it funny? Yes, I did a little bit. Because Shedeur takes himself so fucking seriously. And then this happens. And here's the other thing. Was it a good thing to do? No, it wasn't. But I push back and say, look, let's be honest. It was kind of funny. It was immature kids doing something immature. Yes, there should be a slap on the wrist for this in some way. The kid has already called Shedeur and apologized. The kid has already issued a statement. The Falcons have issued a statement. This isn't fucking Watergate. All right? We got some people out there acting like this kid shot Shedeur in the face or something. It was a prank phone call. Get over it. We're all going to move past it. And I will tell you, the thing that Shedeur should be most worried about, and to his credit, he handled it with maturity. And I'll give him that. Shedeur's reaction to it was mature. He's not crying about it. And nor should he be, because his focus should be on getting to the Cleveland Browns and starting to work on the issues that caused him to slide to the 5th round. Because if he does that, and he has a good NFL career, one day he can have a great I told you so when we look back and he says, hey, I slid to the 5th round. Who got the last laugh? Shedeur did. So that is what he should be focused on, and what I certainly hope that he will be focused on. Brett Favre with some words of encouragement for the young man. You might recall Brett Favre was a 2nd round draft pick back in the day. I think it was 91 that he was a 2nd round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, who fucked up and traded him to the Green Bay Packers. But Brett tweeting, heck, I didn't care when I got drafted. I just wanted a team to give me a chance wherever I went. It's what you do when your number is called that matters, not when you were taken. On top of that, the team that drafted me didn't even want me. But look at those jean shorts, would you? Is there anything that says 1991 any better than Brett Favre in a pair of jorts talking on a cordless wall phone? That right there is primo 1991. If Vanilla Ice showed up and popped into that photo, it couldn't get more 1991. So you never know what the future holds. No matter how things may look at any given moment, the future holds all kinds of intriguing possibilities. For example, a tweet that some of you might remember. of mine from some years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, I've looked into the future, and you will not believe this shit. O.J. Simpson, Bruce Jenner, and Howard Cosell at the Battle of the Network Stars in the late 70s. And who could have possibly thought at that time that Howard Cosell would go on to no longer broadcast boxing? No, that's not the reason that it was fun. Thank you. It's not the reason that it became a popular tweet now, is it? Let me welcome now to the program the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, what do you make? Two things here. What do you make of the predictable argument that some are making? I thought that it was beneath Stephen A. I expected some people to make the argument just because we understand that there's a faction out there who sees everything through this particular lens. I didn't think that Stephen A. was necessarily the guy to say it, but to connect this to some type of racial overtones.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. I mean, there's a number of quarterbacks in the NFL now that might look a little bit urban. Lamar Jackson, right? But Lamar is arguably a great teammate. He seems like a really good guy. He takes his craft really, really serious. Jaden Daniels has dreads. It goes on and on and on and on. Like the appearance, that all just doesn't matter. It's how you conduct yourself. And I'm just blown away, Ricky, that the Browns took Shedeur because they have the blueprint of what a full of themselves, kind of an asshole quarterback looks like and ends up. Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel isn't black. So this is not a racial.
They have a blueprint of how every quarterback can possibly fuck up.
Yeah, man, this isn't
like if
there
was an encyclopedia of ways that quarterbacks can fuck up, it's happened in Cleveland. So this is a perfect storm.
Yeah, again, I've been saying this since this show started. Every time somebody brings up this racial thing, it's just so fucking lazy, man. Like, it's just lazy. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. It has nothing to do with what he looks like. It has everything to do with how he comports himself. And he doesn't comport himself like an NFL quarterback should. You hit the nail on the head. It's super important how you play, but it is also so important how you act as the face of the franchise. Like, it's so, so important. And the way he's acting, and I really thought, Ricky, after he was drafted in the 5th round, after the Browns had already taken a quarterback, after guys, man, there was a quarterback from Montana State that was picked before Shedeur. So it just doesn't make any sense how he didn't eat that huge piece of humble pie that we talked about last week. And after he was drafted, he should just lay low, put his head inside that playbook, and just start being the best quarterback he can be. But instead, he just carried on with the shenanigans. It makes no sense to me. I'm telling you, Ricky, he's going to be a wild bust in Cleveland.
Commercial.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's already got a Gatorade commercial. His number's retired.
Ricky,
he's
interesting.
Had his dad airing him up like all the way along.
So props to Deion
kind of momentum overnight.
Props to Deion for pushing that brand to be a what everybody thought should be a number 1 draft pick. Because the NFL did not think he was a number 1 draft pick. But you talked about that Gatorade thing. You want to hear something? I don't even know if you noticed this, but they were airing that Gatorade commercial pre-draft. It never aired again after the first day. They stopped. They started airing other Gatorade commercials.
Look, and again, above the high school level, who has he played for? His dad.
His dad.
Okay? He's played for his dad. So what are we talking about here? There are a lot of issues. Now, again, I remember people talking about Deion himself.
Yep.
Okay? I remember when Deion came out of Florida State, an incredibly gifted player, but also seemed to be incredibly gifted at being an asshat at the time. I think a lot of us thought, but the talent was so undeniable that you're going to get more leeway, right? You're going to get as much leeway in that league as your talent is perceived we can put up with. It's just like anybody else. Like, it's like if a chick is a 10 out of 10, okay, people are going to put up with personality quirks that you're not going to have
for only so long,
otherwise.
Though. Only for so long.
How long do you think Bill Belichick is going to put up with Jordan Hudson? Because, Ron, I want you to take a look at this. CBS Sunday Morning, okay, this is like morning television for people who are Bill Belichick's age.
Correct.
Basically. I don't know what the average age is of your CBS Sunday Morning viewer, but this is not exactly 60 minutes, okay? This isn't the hard-hitting, we're going to corner you and just hold you to the fire with a tough interview.
It's a nice way to wake up on Sunday.
Happened. Yeah, look what happened. I hope that Bill was awake when he sat down for this interview, because if he wasn't, I guarantee you the kinds of questions that he was getting woke him up real quick. Let's go to the tape.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
All right, Ron. So she is telling... Now, we're talking about Bill Belichick here, generally considered to be the greatest NFL football coach of all time, if not the greatest football coach of all time. He's got 8 rings, 2 with the Giants.
He's 73.
6 is the head coach of the Patriots. He's 73 years old. She's 24. He's now the head coach at North Carolina. And it kind of feels, at least from watching that, like this young woman is basically telling Bill what to do. Does that seem fair to you?
Well, Ricky, it just seems to me like I've seen this countless times, right? Like the aging parent, and then either the kid or the grandkid steps in and is like, "Dad, we can't talk about this right now," and they kind of become, their caretaker, and they kind of guide them through the pitfalls of life and how to handle certain things. I mean, I'm not even going to go where I was about to go, Ricky, but she's got a stranglehold on him. We probably all know why. And it's just weird. But can we also talk about...
What are you trying to say, Ron? Ron, I'm a little slow. I'm not connecting the dots. Could you help me?
Wars have been fought over this. Ricky, wars have been fought over this. Let's just say that. How about the fact that Belichick knew that he was going to be on this talk about, he's like, I don't care what people think. You clearly don't care what people think. He had this Navy sweatshirt on, a big old hole right here with his chest hair sticking out, all tattered around the collar. Like, he absolutely doesn't give a fuck about anything.
I don't know. He might give a fuck with what his 24-year-old girlfriend tells him he can or can't talk about. Now I want to know, how did they meet?
They met on a plane, from what I understand.
Is that right? Well, she didn't want to talk about it. I wonder what the holdup is there.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't asking questions until she didn't want him to talk about it. Now I kind of am curious.
I mean,
it's just what I'm saying, Ron?
It's just, oh, I know. It's just so emasculating. Like, I can't even imagine what my reaction would be if I'm doing an interview. I'm doing this right now, and Lori's sitting over there, and you ask me a question, and all of a sudden you hear, we can't talk about that. Like, I promise you, It would be an ugly reaction by me. And Bill's like, I'm getting some young, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll put up with it.
It's very interesting. We may have a Brian Wilson situation happening. Was it
I'm not familiar with that.
Was it Dr. Eugene Landy who held Brian Wilson under his thumb for years, had him all medicated up, got power of attorney over him? I don't know, Bill. Bill, blink twice if she's treating you okay. Let us know. I don't know, Ron. The Eagles are going to the White House soon. And here's a tale of two Eagles stars for you. Let's start with Saquon Barkley, who visited the White House. And there you can see Saquon sitting down with President Trump. Ron, the finest running back in the NFL. Yeah, he played golf with him. Okay, they're visiting the White House today, but Saquon getting a jump on everybody else by playing golf with the president, tweeting, "Some people are really upset because I played golf and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I just respect the office. Not a hard concept to understand. Just golfed with Obama not too long ago and look forward to finishing my round with Trump. Now you get out my mentions with all this politics and have an amazing day." Hey, look at that. Saquon Barkley, not only the best running back in the NFL, apparently just sensible goddamn American is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, you just can't. It's funny, we're sitting here talking about Belichick. Like, I do like that Belichick doesn't care what anybody thinks, because that's where I think everybody should be, is don't care what everybody thinks. But yeah, Saquon's right. Like, you get a chance to go and play golf with the president. Like, when you tell that story, you know, when you're telling your grandkids when you're 70, you can just say, I played golf with the president. Like, your grandkids aren't going to go, well, what did the country think about that president, Grandpa? Like, no, I played golf with the president.
You're a terrible person, Grandpa. I don't love you anymore.
Orange man bad.
This is a family of lies.
Orange man bad.
Everybody's so fucking dramatic.
Oh.
So fucking dramatic. And I don't care. Sometimes it's people I agree with, Ron. Just calm the fuck down just a little bit.
Yep.
You know, everybody is just so worked up. You're either a great person or you're a terrible person because of who you played golf with or what you didn't do. Look, Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, is, let's just say, less committal. Let's roll this.
Are you planning on visiting the White House next week? Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Did he look at his wife for an answer?
He did. Well, he did. And look at me. I'm playing with my hair here like I'm not on camera, Ron. We're in the boxes all the time now. This is the new reality.
It's okay. Again, we're people, Ricky. We're people. Never forget, we're people.
I don't have an itch. I'll tell you that.
Here,
Tim
hey,
doesn't
look,
give a
here,
fuck if I have
here.
an itch.
You feel better now?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. What about hosts who have itches? None of that
Just
ever goes into any of this consideration. One other person that's going to be at the White House that we want to give a little bit of love to is OutKick's own, the great Armando Salguero, who is visiting the White House for the first time in his life as part of OutKick's coverage of the Eagles being there. Armando tweeting out, "I've accepted the invitation." That's pretty fucking cool. I will have to say.
Very cool.
Pretty fucking cool. My pleasure now to welcome to the show a Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL, 10-year veteran. You may remember him from the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. He did fine work for both of those franchises, and he is now a mushroom magnet, I guess it is fair to say. I welcome to the program Jake the Snake Plummer. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing good, Ricky. Thanks for having me on the show. And I don't know if magnet is the right word, but you know, when you do get out in nature, the mushrooms start to show up. So maybe I am a magnet to the mushrooms. But it's been a great transition, great thing for me to get involved with. And as life presents fun opportunities, I'm always game.
All right. Well, I want to get into that topic with you because I do find it rather fascinating, and I know that you're excited about the things that you're doing there. Let me go ahead and jump in and get your thoughts, though. I get a Pro Bowl quarterback on the show in the wake of this draft. I've got to get your thoughts on starting out Shedeur Sanders. Of course, in the very beginning, we were hearing Cam Ward or Shedeur. Shedeur's going to go, he's going to go second if he doesn't go first, or he's going to go third, or he's certainly going to go in the top 10. Then we started to hear, well, he could slide to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. And then, of course, as things turned out, we were starting to wonder if he was going to get drafted. He lasts all the way to the third day. He's the second quarterback that the Cleveland Browns take. They finally grabbed him in the 5th round, Jake. What did you make of it?
Very interesting. I think, the way the draft is, I mean, obviously there was, in my time, 28 years ago, there was a lot of pundits talking about who's going to be here, who's going there, all this stuff. They have their, pre-draft analysis. It's changed now, though. It's definitely become quite a money-making huge thing. I mean, I think I saw a clip that showed there were more people watching the draft than last year's NBA finals. And it's like, this is wild. We're watching, these young men obviously achieve their dreams, which is awesome. What a moment for a lot of these young men to finally be going into that next step of the best, an opportunity to be an NFL starter or a player or a Pro Bowler. And the whole analysis, the pundits, the trying to predict where guys go. I think it stinks for some of these guys. And for Shedeur Sanders, it really, I don't know what it'll do for him. I think if anything, knowing him and knowing his background and where he comes from with Dion as his dad, it's going to do only one thing, and that's fire him up to even go prove everyone else wrong. But that stuff doesn't happen just by chance. It's not like all these teams were like, oh, this kid's a little bigger than for his britches, or he thinks he's cooler than everybody else, or he carries himself in this way, or he didn't do well on this test. They draft for talent. They draft for leadership. They draft for the ability of a guy to come in and play right away. So obviously there's questions about that for him at the next level. And I think that people can understand that. If you played football, if you've suited up on a team of 52 players in the NFL or however many now, we had 90 plus at ASU, it's a team game. There's no I in team, the old saying goes. And, for Shedeur, I've watched him. I've been impressed at times by his abilities on the field. I've been impressed at the things he said to, come to kind of answer the critics. Now is his chance. It doesn't matter where you get drafted. I'm first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever. As long as you get on a team, even if you're undrafted, look at all the amazing superstars and phenomenal players that have gone undrafted to become future Hall of Famers. So it doesn't determine your success at the next level, but it definitely raises the questions. I think for anything, here's the bottom line, Ricky. Shedeur Sanders just made a ton more money because the whole narrative and storyline was Shedeur. It's kind of like our president. Everything's all about Trump. Every headline all around us. And what does that turn into? Money. That's it. Bottom line, I think, is money. And whether Shedeur plays in the NFL or not, he just made a whole lot more money by the fact that he got drafted late in this big production the NFL puts on. So good luck to him. I hope he has a good career. I hope he does well. I love playing against his dad. His dad's a phenomenal human. But him falling, there's a reason. There's obviously a reason. These GMs don't just do things to slap the kid on the wrist. Nobody draft him till the 5th round. I mean, there's a reason. Maybe there's questions on if he can get it done at the next level. But now he gets a chance to go answer those questions and prove all those other teams that passed on and prove them wrong.
Jake, you've been through that experience, obviously, of being drafted as a quarterback into the NFL. What kinds of questions did organizations ask you, and what kinds of things are they interested in knowing about a potential quarterback as a person in terms of who they are off the field as well as what they can do on it?
Yeah, back when I was at the Combine, this was 1997, so 28 years ago, and things have obviously evolved and become much more important to do all your homework and make sure you don't miss out on certain guys. But the year after, you look at what happened with Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf. I mean, these things, it happens. Guys can say all the right things. They can be taught how to answer this question and how to posture here or how to act here. When I came out, I was just myself, as 100% possible as I could be. Obviously, you're nervous. You're in front of all these execs and these head coaches and offensive coordinators and some QB coaches that you watched as a kid growing up. So it can be nerve-wracking. But for me, I figured my play is what I let speak for itself. My play as a Sun Devil was the reason I was even in this room to begin with. So if you had questions on any other things, you're going to find out I'm a pretty decent human. I'm a pretty good guy. I was raised right by a family that knows how to treat people with respect and treat everybody the same. And that's really who I was when I played at ASU. It's who I was when I played at Capitol High School, playing all three sports in high school. So there was really no question about me other than, can he play? Is he durable enough? Is he big enough? Because back then, if you recall, 6'4", 6'3", 225 pounds was the prototypical quarterback. Well, wow, has that changed now? We got a lot of guys that are under 6 foot that are balling, and I applaud the guys that did it before it became normalized to put athletes back at the quarterback position. Guys like Doug Flutie, who was, to me, I think maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest to ever play the game. Jeff Garcia was a little ahead of me, and we kind of at the same era where we were undersized, yet we were scrappy and tough. We didn't get hurt. We played through the pain. So the doors were open now for these young guys to come out that are, not your prototypical quarterbacks. But the weirdest thing I had to go through, they put you through some psych tests. And I guess back then, I think it was the Giants who had the big, long test that took like an hour to do. And the only reason they did it was to keep you from going to get interviews with other teams. So there was the jockeying and the games going on between teams. There were some weird questions asked, like, have you ever thought of your parents while sitting on the toilet? And it was like, I remember looking over at Ink Aliaga from Washington going, bro, are you reading these things? We weren't supposed to talk. But at that point, I was like, you know what? If they're going to not pick me because I'm talking in this stupid ass waste of my time, then I don't want to be with this organization. So, I went into it and was just myself. I had balled out at ASU. I figured the one thing that teams are going to find is whether they want to take a risk with a 6'2", 195-pound scrappy leader that was going to go put 100% of his effort into making a team better. And if that's not draft worthy, then I don't know. I don't want to be in the NFL, And sure enough, I got drafted in the second round by the Arizona Cardinals and got an opportunity to turn an organization that hadn't done much there in the Valley. We had that great year in '98. And, I was just grateful for the opportunity. I just wanted to go to that next level. And, your dreams are right there when you get drafted. And to be able to go and have a 10-year career was a phenomenal gift and an accomplishment in my eyes.
Well, Jake, at the other end of the quarterback spectrum right now in the NFL, we've got Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least, and their fans. Maybe the rest of us are getting a little tired of the drama, but certainly in Pittsburgh, they're very interested in what he is going to decide. Aaron Rodgers, I believe you're 42 years old, I think it is. Do you think that he still has gas in the tank? And do you expect Aaron Rodgers to come back and play in 2025?
Man, that he's even in the conversation still. Sometimes I just shake my head and wish that I just hope he's doing well. More than anything, I hope he's all right. As you keep chasing some of these things, whether it's for your own personal glory or the fact that you just love the game and you're afraid of life outside of the game or whatever it is, Aaron's always been a very deep thinker and a guy who does things with deeper meaning than most people. I enjoy, what he stood up for, how he's always been very intelligent and spoken with knowledge on things that have come up in his past. And he's fun to watch. I tell you what, man, there hasn't been many guys that played the game like he has throughout his career, a phenomenal quarterback. I love, like I said, the outspoken nature of Aaron Rodgers in a league full of sometimes you wonder, just a bunch of these like blow up dolls that are pre-programmed to say exactly what they're being told to say, so you don't ruffle any feathers. I've always respected Aaron for speaking up. I wish more athletes would speak up. So for him to get another opportunity, if he's still got the game and he wants to do it, whatever the reason behind it, he's one of the greatest of all time. So I figure if Pittsburgh gets him, awesome. I just hope he stays healthy and at some point can leave the game graciously and know, like, you did enough, my man. You did enough. You've done a lot for this game. You've set yourself up for long-term financial, generational wealth. Now, what's next on your plate is what I worry about when these guys give up the game. Do they have something to do after that? As I've gone through some struggles, to find what's next after you live in such a bubble and such a huge thing that we've turned this game into in this country. It's a religion, it's bigger than church on Sundays. So if Aaron comes back and plays, I'm going to watch because, I've loved watching him play throughout his entire career. I just hope that he's internally doing well mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I believe he is. I think he still loves the game. That's why he's back doing this.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.